Well, how are you doing today? What are you doing, bros? What are we gonna do on the glade, step brah? Anyways, today thought I would talk about an interesting topic, and it's almost election season. It's almost time for that fiasco to go down. It's almost time for all of that crazy shenanigans, right? So, it's time to watch another 2020 happen again. And I won't comment any more than that, but nothing's been put in place to stop the shenanigans this time. I wonder if they're going to continue the same way, but the thought of elections has really gotten my jimmies in a rustle. So I figured I would say what I would do if the world would vest the power of the United States in my hands. That's right. It's time to hear what I would do. Sneed, God King Sneed, Emperor Snide, what I would do if I became God Emperor of the United States. If I became the president-elect, in which case democracy would die in darkness, because I'm not a fan of democracy. So let's start. Day one, I would stop the bombs over Syria, just as Biden started the bombs over Syria on day one. That is a war we're not in, we should not be in. There's zero reason we should be giving Raytheon money anymore, or funding a military-industrial complex. America is not the police of the world and should not be the police of the world. In that same vein, on day one also, I would cut all funding to Ukraine. I'm not interested in a proxy war with Russia. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and I think, I don't really care what happens on the Eurasian steppe. That doesn't impact me or my life, or anyone that I should be looking after as the president's life. I think it's beyond ridiculous that we are in fact even in the Eurasian steppe, or contributing to it, or giving them money or missiles or anything else. Yeah, I get it, fighting Putler is bad, heckin' Reddit Torino said so, dude, just keep voting, but, at the end of the day, it's not our job to fix that world. And the only reason we're there is to protect the business interest of the Biden family. Let's be clear about that. We're sending $40 billion of you and my money every single month or whatever to Ukraine, merely to protect Hunter Biden's comfy Burisma, gas job, basically, so he can sit on a board for $50,000 a month and, peddle his father's interest. Ooh, he said the obvious thing that no one wants to talk about. Oh no, but, it is what it is, right? So, day one is looking like that immediately. Day two is a complete reduction of any and all military of the United States and across the globe. I would begin by automatically giving back all of our bases to all the countries we're currently occupying, Japan, Germany, everywhere. I would immediately decommission, tear that garbage apart, and either bring it back here or sell it off. And I would return the land back to the rightful host nations. There's literally zero reason we should have military bases in Japan and Germany right now. What is the purpose of that? Why are we doing that? What a ridiculous waste of taxpayer money, other people's time and energy, creating global conflict for what? So that's the morning of day two. In the midday of day two, I would automatically evict all homosexuals from the military. So any and all of those woke military leaders, everyone else associated with it, they would all be gone. And yes, that does include any servicemen that identify as gay. You can all get dishonorably discharged. And I don't care if people are going to claim they're gay to be dishonorably discharged. I'm downsizing the United States military significantly, so you're free to go. Claim you're gay, throw away your pension, and you can be dishonorably discharged. Doesn't matter to me if you lie about it. If you're willing to lie about that, if you're not really in it for, not, defending United States territory more so than bombing random Muslims, then I really don't care. Get out. We're not going to need a large military anymore anyways. We're decommissioning everything all across the globe. We're returning it all to the host nations. And then we're going to focus on what the U.S. military should be focusing on, defense. We're going to enact an isolationist military policy, and we're going to defend our borders, and we're going to keep invaders out. And that starts at the south. I would immediately get every single illegal immigrant out of the country, and if not, I would kill them. I would just make it a crime punishable by death to be an illegal citizen inside of our borders. Leave or die. Get citizenship, apply for it, do whatever you can. If you're rejected, leave, or else we'll kill you. This is not your country. Breaking our laws and disrespecting our traditions and not assimilating to our culture is not acceptable. I don't care what race you are, where you're from, you can either go back or you can go in the ground. There's plenty of fertilizer out there that needs to be made. So that would be the next purpose of the U.S. military, would be enforcing our border and nowhere else. And I would not care what happens in Europe. I don't give a flying ass about European wars. I don't give a flying ass about the rest of the globe. I care about specifically America, and that's it. So, by downsizing our military, we're basically going to use it strictly for defense, and really we don't have any potential conflicts that are going to come to our soil. So that's day 2. Day 3, I would attempt to kill democracy, just full stop. I would use the National Defense Authorization Act issued by that rape ape Obama, and I would put all of my political dissidents and anyone who I disliked to the sword. And I say that with absolute certainty. So for those of you who are unaware, the National Defense Authorization Act allows you to kill an American citizen if you so much as suspect them of being a terrorist as the president. So people like Nancy Pelosi, Ocasio-Cortez, let's see, who else needs to go? Turtle needs to go, Cocaine Mitch McConnell, he needs to go. All of them can just go, and they will be put to the sword, like Nancy Pelosi for all of her crimes as well, like the insider trading, all of that. Joe Biden, his entire family, the Bushes, the Clintons, all the political dynasties, they all can die. You're all terrorists, flee the country, or, be put to the sword. You can thank Obama for giving me that power. Let's be clear here. Democracy died when the Patriot Act was pushed by the stolen election from the year 2000 by George W. Bush. And we've been living in a post-democracy society for a while now. We just didn't know it. And when the National Defense Authorization Act came from Obama that allowed him to start murdering U.S. citizens for the funds, XD, who knows if that's been used, by the way. We don't even know if the government's just been killing people randomly, American citizens, for what. We really don't know. Maybe it comes out someday that it has been. But yeah, that would be my next step, is killing democracy, basically just murdering everyone who could politically oppose me and then shutting down this whole election thing. And anyone who didn't fully submit to my will. I become the emperor at that point. And then I would turn America into an isolationist nation, much akin to Japan before America invaded it and tried to ruin it by forcing it to open up to the world. And the story of Japan is both the most tragic thing and one of the most beautiful things that's happened in the history of the world. And such a rich place with such a rich story is really why it produces such amazing art and has such an amazing culture. So my goal going forward would be to turn America into an isolationist nation. And if I have to invade Canada and all of Mexico to do it, I would, but I would prefer not to. If violations at the border continue at that point, then, I can use my downscaled, military, which still should be more than enough to conquer these nations, to go ahead and conquer those nations. I doubt that would be a requirement, though, but that would just be the next step. We're talking about, the first week here. I very much doubt anything beyond that occurs, though. After I've destroyed both political parties' heads of state and, basically all the political dynasties of the country, after they've all been murdered, I, simply just force Congress into voting away pretty much the idea, not just the 19th Amendment, but the idea of democracy in and of itself. And I attempt to take full control of the country for the rest of my days. And I would steer it towards being a completely isolationist nation focused on internal growth and development, ignoring the outside world. I would cede the microchip industry to China and let them take over, as well as the global economy and as well as the global world police. I would focus strictly on internal matters at that point and let the rest of the world, burn in the global homo clown world as it would. This would never happen, of course. America is already so deeply entrenched by global homo clown worlds that anything as sensible as trying to bring us back to our isolation, its roots, would be seen as unfathomable in modern day. It really is. I can't imagine, this half N-wordized hellhole becoming anything more than basically Rabbi's plaything, a little dreidel he spins around, and, dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I made you out of clay, like in a merigolem, like a homunculus, with dreidel, 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 with dreidel I will play. If you know, you know. But yeah, that would be at least my thoughts on what I would do as president going forward. As far as the early game, obviously a lot of the things would have to be like sort of late game planning, and I obviously can't say everything I would do, but I'm sure you can, just from my initial description, get the gist of where I'm going with this, right? It's a real crying shame that we won't ever have a isolationist nationalist leader again, though. We won't ever be able to look towards our own borders instead of the other world's borders. That will constantly be a plaything for, global homo instead. That we're still having Black Hawks and God knows what flying, and Ospreys flying around bloody Nihon. Still having troops stationed in Germany, just in case they don't worship Abdul enough, right? Just in case they don't hoist the rainbow flag high enough. We gotta make sure they do at the point of a gun. Like true diversity, like true multiculturalism. It comes at the end of an American gun. It comes derisively, and it comes with a vengeance. But I don't know. Maybe it's just a little depressing when I look to what's the 2024 election is going to be like, when I see the fact that it's very likely that one of our political candidates is going to use his Department of Justice to imprison the other political candidate. It just, fills my heart with glee to see the American system falling apart. And I can't wait to see what's next. I'm still voting for Trump even in prison, by the way. If nothing else, just because I find the entire idea hilarious, and we live in a clown world, I must honk. Honk, honk. And I hope you guys at home are honking too. You have a great day.